Welcome to Balance Banter. I'm your host, Kristie Langle, functional nutrition practitioner, exercise physiologist, founder of the Balance app, and someone who's lived through the roller coaster of mystery symptoms and chronic illness. If you're living with unexplained symptoms, autoimmunity, fatigue, food reactions, or just feel like your body's no longer cooperating, you're not alone. On this podcast, we get to the root of it all. We'll dive into integrative approaches like functional nutrition, nervous system support, gentle movement, and sustainable habits that work with your body, not against it. So with that, let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Balance Banter. I'm your host, Kristie Calise, functional nutrition practitioner, exercise physiologist, founder of the Balance app, and someone who has spent a lot of years trying to figure out what the heck my own body was trying to tell me. And today I want to talk about something that I think is missing from a lot of the chronic illness conversation. You tracked all your symptoms, which is great, but now what? Symptom tracking can be incredibly valuable. It was for me, for sure, especially when symptoms are new. So maybe you're trying to figure out, why am I suddenly exhausted every afternoon? Why does my stomach blow up 3 hours after I eat? Why do I feel amazing one day and like hot garbage the next? Why does every stressful week end in a flare? In those early stages, writing all of that information down can be so helpful. So you start collecting clues. Maybe you realize your migraines happen every time you sleep poorly. Maybe your joint pain is consistently worse after certain foods. Maybe your energy tanks when you go 3 days without moving your body. Or maybe every time work gets absolutely bananas, your symptoms follow right behind it. All of that information actually truly matters. But there comes a point when collecting more data isn't necessarily what you need. You need to know what to do with it. You need to know what to do with that information. So, I want to be really clear about this. I am absolutely not anti-symptom tracker. Like I said, I tracked my symptoms a lot and for a long time. And symptom tracking can be incredibly powerful. When you're first trying to understand your body, a tracker can help you recognize patterns that are almost impossible to see when you're just living your life day to day. Because let's be real, if you have a chronic illness, there can be about 47 things happening in your body at any given moment. I know a lot of you out there are shaking your head up and down, nodding right now. So you might be thinking when this happens, was it dinner? Was it the workout? Was it because I stayed up too late? Is it my hormones? Who knows, right? So writing things down gives you a little objectivity. It allows you to be objective about what's going on. But if you've been managing, let's say, Hashimoto's or POTS or mast cell activation syndrome, any other immune condition, autoimmunity, chronic symptoms, 5 or 10 years, any of these things, you probably don't need another app asking you, how fatigued are you today on a scale from 1 to 10? After tracking for quite a while, we know we're tired. You know, stress makes things worse. You know that eating takeout 5 nights in a row is probably not doing you any favors. And at some point, we need to move from what happened, or trying to figure out what happened, to, okay, what can I do about it? And that is the gap that we are looking to fill for you with balance. So let me give you some examples. Example number one, You learn that your food matters from symptom tracking. So let's say you've tracked your symptoms for a few months and you notice something interesting. The weeks where you're eating mostly at home, your digestion is better, your energy is steadier, you're less puffy, your joints aren't yelling at you quite as loudly. Awesome. You found a pattern. But now what? Because knowing that home cooked meals make you feel better doesn't magically give you the energy to cook those dinners every single night, especially when you're exhausted. And I think that's where traditional wellness advice can get a little ridiculous because it's, you know, just meal prep on Sunday. All right, Susan, except Sunday was the day that I finally had enough energy to go food shopping, to shower, to do a little workout, to do all my kids' laundry, wash my hair, to do the things that I needed to do. And that doesn't really leave a lot of energy for meal prepping for the whole week, right? So now we need an actionable next step that works with a chronic illness. So that's why we built the recipe vault inside the Balance app. So it's full of supportive anti-inflammatory recipes, and many of them are intentionally simple because low energy days are real. You can also filter the recipes based on therapeutic dietary needs like paleo or gluten free or dairy free, maybe low histamine. So now the information that you've learned becomes useful. Instead of, I feel better when I eat at home, we turn that into, here are some realistic meals that I can actually make that support how I want to feel. And that's progress. Okay. So, example number two, you learn that gentle movement actually helps your body. So maybe your tracker shows you something completely different. Like maybe you notice that every time you take a short walk or, um, do a little stretch, you actually feel better afterward. Your mood improves, your digestion improves, maybe you sleep a little better, maybe your stiffness decreases, and you start thinking, okay, apparently, my body likes movement, but I'm afraid to do more because every traditional fitness program I feel does way too much. So now what? This is exactly where the movement library in Balance comes in. So maybe you're ready to build a little bit more strength, but you don't want to jump into some 45-minute hit workout and spend the next 3 days regretting all of your life choices. Instead, you've got options. You might choose gentle movement. Maybe you're managing orthostatic symptoms and you need something more position conscious. So you head to our POTS friendly section. Maybe you're ready to intentionally start building strength. So you choose the strengthening section. Maybe you're having a really good week and you want some more structure and you choose to do one of the weekly workouts. Or maybe you're just getting started and you choose something from the foundations and flares section. So the point isn't you discovered movement helps, so now go exercise harder. Instead, it's you discovered movement helps. Let's help you find the right kind of movement for your body. There's a big, big difference there. Okay. And one more example, number three, you learn that stress is a huge trigger. So let's say you've been tracking for a while and your biggest pattern, it's not food, it's not movement, it's stress. Every crazy week at work, flare. An argument with your spouse, flare. Financial stress, flare. Your kids have 16 activities in 7 days and your calendar looks like a game of Tetris, flare. You've totally identified the trigger, which is awesome. But again, now what? Because saying, just try to reduce your stress might be some of the least helpful health advice on planet Earth. Oh, just reduce stress, right? Okay, perfect. I'll just remove my mortgage, my responsibilities, and my entire family calendar. Thank you so much for that. The reality is that we can't actually always remove the stressful situation, but we can give our nervous system better tools for responding to it. And that's why balance has an entire reset section separate from movement. So maybe today isn't a workout day. Maybe what your body needs is a 5-minute nervous system reset, maybe a yoga nidra, maybe some breath work, maybe some gentle stretching, maybe some somatic work. Something that helps shift your body out of the constant go, go, go state. You learn that through tracking that stress is part of the symptom picture, and balance gives you something actionable to do with that information. So, this is why balance isn't actually a symptom tracker. And that's something that I definitely want people to understand. So, there are plenty of great tools out there already for symptom tracking. But where we're coming in here with balance is after the tracking. It's the, okay, I know my body now, help me support it phase. Maybe you've learned that sleep is everything for you. That's where the balance basics foundational habits come in. Maybe you've learned you need more structure around food. There's the recipe vault. Movement improves your symptoms. There's the movement library. Stress sends your body sideways. Let's use the reset tools. You're not spending every day staring at another graph reminding you that you're sick. You're starting to build routines that support the life you're trying to get back to. And I think that distinction matters so, so much. And one more piece of this that I think we don't talk about enough is that there can come a point where constantly tracking everything keeps your attention glued to your actual illness. So, what did I eat? How did I sleep? What was my heart rate? What's my plan today? What's my pain? What changed? What's wrong? And again, there's absolutely seasons when that information is necessary, but eventually, many of us want to graduate from constantly monitoring our lives to actually living them. And that is what I want for you. I want you to understand your body, absolutely. But then I want you to have enough tools and confidence to say, I know what tends to support me. I know what to do when I'm having a bad day. I know what to do when I'm flaring. I know how to adjust. I have somewhere to turn. That is a very different relationship with chronic illness. So here's what I want you to think about after today's episode. If you've been symptom tracking, ask yourself, what have I actually learned? Not what went wrong yesterday, but what patterns have emerged? Maybe write down your top 3. For example, I feel better when I eat mostly home cooked food. I feel better when I move consistently. My symptoms increase dramatically during stressful weeks. Okay. Now, underneath each one, ask yourself, what's one action that I can take based on that information? That is where the magic happens because awareness is so, so, so valuable. But awareness plus action is what starts changing your day to day life. And if you're sitting there thinking, yes, I already know my triggers, I just need to find some support for figuring out what the heck to do every day, that is exactly why we created Balance. It's light structure. It's not another overwhelming protocol. It's not another place to obsess over symptoms. It's just supportive tools for your body that you're living in today. Movement for good days, reset tools for flare days, foundational balance basics habits, and anti-inflammatory recipes. And recipe resources that help you take what you've learned about your body and actually put it into practice. If you'd like to see whether balance might fit into your chronic illness journey, click the link in today's show notes and start your complimentary trial. And then maybe close the symptom tracker for a little while. You've gathered the information. Now let's actually use it. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, friend, and I will see you at episode 100 of Balance Banter. Have a great day. Bye.